Well, hello there. I'm Dax Rittersall, and I'm a student in Engineering 1083. Should I be an engineer? If you have noticed, I'm wearing a tiger onesie because Halloween's around the corner. Anyway, I'll be presenting you a presentation labeled, if I can find it, PowerPoint. There we go. Climate change. Let me pull this over here. Climate change. A closer look at the real impact, analyzing the gap between perception and measurable effect. And measurable effect. And measurable effect. There we go. We all know climate change is one of the most talked about issues in the world today. But while there's no denying that climate is changing, it's important to ask how much is it changing and how serious are those effects? In many cases, public fear is driven more by headlines and emotional messaging than by the data itself. So, in this presentation, I'll explore what the numbers actually show and why the reality may be more moderate than the crisis narrative suggests. So, let's start with the temperature data. Yes, global temperatures have increased, but gradually, not explosively. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports about a 1.1 degrees Celsius rise since 1880. That's significant, but still within natural variation compared to the past geological cycles. Even more interesting, some periods, like the early 2000s, saw a slowdown in the rate of warming. And we should remember that warming isn't uniform. Some regions warm more than others, while a few areas have actually cooled slightly. So let's talk about sea levels and natural disasters, two of the biggest concerns. Sea levels have been rising over a century, but the rate, about 3 millimeters per year, has stayed fairly consistent. Now, when it comes to hurricanes and other major storms, data from the NOAA shows no clear upward trend in either frequency or intensity. Similarly, droughts and wildfires are often regional and cyclical, tied to natural factors like El Nino patterns or local land management, not just carbon emissions. So while the media highlights very extreme event, oh, so while the media, excuse me, highlights every extreme event as proof of catastrophe, the broader trend is much less dramatic. So let's look at how this affects agriculture and the economy. First, interestingly, rising CO2 levels can actually boost plant growth. NASA and the USDA data show increased global vegetation and crop yields in recent decades. Our global food supply is more resilient now than has been than it was 50 years ago, thanks to improved technology and farming methods. That doesn't mean we should ignore climate issues, but it does suggest that panic driven policies might cause more harm than good, if you can believe that, especially if they slow down economic process. And lastly, a balanced approach focused on smart adaptation is far more effective than drastic overreaction. Sister definitely want to know anything about an overreaction, right? Anyhow, one thing we often forget is how adaptable humanity really is. We have better forecasting, infrastructure, and agricultural technology than at any other point in history. Even historically, humans have thrived in warmer periods as long as resources were managed wisely. So rather than treating climate change as an unstoppable apocalypse, it makes more sense to prepare, adapt, and innovate, something humans have always been great at. So let's recap. Climate change is real, but it's not the end of the world. The evidence supports measured concern, not panic. Instead of focusing on fear, we should focus on facts, solutions, and human resilience. because truth doesn't need exaggeration, it just needs clarity. Anyhow, thank you for listening to my TED Talk, and I'll catch you around.